Little lunch money time. Let's get after it. What's going on today in the world?
Whoa, that was fast.
Well, let's go.
Why don't you ever say, like, get your lunch money right anymore?
While Wall Street's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. It's a reading test to see if the audience is reading the bottom here, which says, while Wall Street is trying to get rich, the rest of us are just trying to get our lunch money right. Hey, you, pay attention. Here we go.
Okay, ready? Today, the Federal Reserve is widely expected to raise its Fed funds target rate by 0.5 percentage points. Not points. But investors are worried. Why are investors worried?
Well, the first thing is that obviously the Fed flooded the market with cheap capital over the last 2 years or so. They literally just were printing cash left and right. The elected officials were handing out fiscal policy like it was candy. And all they were doing was stuffing it in every exotic corner of the financial system. They were sending $1,200 checks. They were going ahead and buying all sorts of different assets. Anywhere they could possibly try to stimulate the economy, they were doing it. That also included the cutting of interest rates. If you remember back in March of 2020, in April, they had 2 emergency rate cuts down to a 0% rate environment. That meant cheap capital for everyone. When you start to think about that, then you get into this world where you say to yourself, all right, if there's going to be cheap capital, I'm going to go borrow money, I'm going to go and I'm going to invest. And so that's exactly what people did. Now, as asset prices exploded, as inflation took off, etc., the Fed's sitting there, oh, buddy, we are 2 years into this game. I cannot let us go ahead and keep having this high inflation. So what are they going to do? They've got to start to tighten. And that means that they're going to stop doing the asset purchases. They're going to go ahead and start raising interest rates. They already raised it 25 basis points. But the stock market said, oh, no more cheap capital, and it's just falling out of the sky. People are losing money. Tiger Global down over 40% year to date. Many other hedge funds also suffering massive losses as well. Now, the key to this is that the market is pricing in this afternoon. We are going to get a 50 basis point rate hike. We'll go from 0.25% to 0.75%. The only problem with that is if they continue to do it, all of a sudden, then we are going to have to see what will occur. What is going to happen if they go ahead and they raise the 75 basis points? Will the market sell off more or not? Nobody knows. But remember, in Q1, there was an economic contraction, meaning that we actually had negative growth in Q1. And if the Fed continues to raise interest rates into an economic issue, woo, that ain't good. It just gets real bad from there. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that I have no opinion on this. I'm just confused why they haven't done this before. Why now? Why didn't they already do this?
Well, because again, there's
inflation?
cycles. There's cycles, right? So basically the whole idea is that stock prices were crashing. Everything was crashing in March of 2020. Oh shit, we got to step in. We have to feel like we have some sort of control. Let's step in. Right. When we step in, drop interest rates, print money. That was the whole playbook. Stock market comes flying back, economy's good, but still unemployment was high. There was all kinds of issues. Oh, supply chains, inflation is transitory, all the nonsense they were telling everyone. And so just until the end of 2021, they're like, maybe inflation isn't transitory.
Well, but my question is, did they know that they would have to do this, or are they doing it because they can't stop?
There are constant cycles where they know that they need to stimulate the economy, which is quantitative easing, and then there are points when they need to do quantitative tightening. The problem is, normally when they are doing quantitative tightening, it is because they are doing it before the recession comes. We are in a recession right now. A recession is 2 consecutive quarters of GDP contraction. Mm-hmm. We will get the GDP contraction in Q2, I believe, and so we are already in the recession. It's just that now they're starting so late with the quantitative tightening. And it's why I continue to always say, like, you can get inflation or you can get recession. Pick your poison. In some crazy way, we have recession and inflation at the same time. Double whammy, not good for anybody in the economy.
Great. All right, ready?
Let's go.
Hester Pierce.
Purse.
Purse?
Yeah, only because she's corrected me before.
Okay,
I learned from experience.
I
noticed
Purse. That it wasn't spelled Pierce the normal way. So
Purse.
Makes sense. Okay. So Hester Purse, she's a member of the SEC. Is she a former commissioner?
I believe she is a commissioner.
She is the commissioner?
She is a commissioner. There's multiple commissioners
of the
SEC.
Of the SEC. Okay. The SEC is going to increase the headcount to 50 people for their cybercrime unit. So they're going to be more on the regulatory front. They want to get crypto crime out of the way. She tweeted The SEC is a regulatory agency with an enforcement division, not an enforcement agency. Why are we leading with enforcement in crypto? But she's a member, so why didn't she just tell them?
She's been very pro Bitcoin, very pro crypto over time. And basically the whole idea is regulation through enforcement would be the whole kind of mechanism where I'm not going to tell you what the rules are. You go and do something, and then I show back up later. I'm like, oh, you broke the rules. Like, we're going to enforce on you. And that sets the precedent for future rules. Now, there's two sides to this argument. It's very important to call out two sides. The first side is there are entrepreneurs and investors who are saying, we want to build stuff in this industry. Right. Tell us what the rules are so that we can go do it. Now, the other side of it is people saying the rules already exist. If you commit a crime, you're going to jail or you're being fined. If you're a fraud, then you're going to get caught, etc. And so when you start to think about that, it ends up being this really, really...
And there's a third side of people who are like, ooh, there's no rules, that it's kind of a gray area, so I'm going to do whatever I want, and those are the nefarious actors, correct? It's not always people trying to do the right thing.
Yes, but the thing is, if you're a bad actor, you're going to get caught. Like, if you're sitting there and you are breaking the law, you're committing fraud, whatever, that's pretty easy. They're going to find you. The second thing that ends up being the issue is this idea of, let's say that you don't believe that you're issuing a security, but they deem you are issuing a security. You could sit and wait for them to come up with the rules, but people have been waiting for years now. And so where it becomes really, really nuanced and hard is, let's say, I'll use a really kind of egregious example. Let's say that there are rules that say an exchange has to file XYZ paperwork with the regulator. And every centralized exchange, Coinbase or whatever, they go and they file XYZ paperwork. Now all of a sudden a decentralized exchange comes along. Well, if it's truly decentralized, big if, but if it is truly decentralized, what is the regulatory treatment? How do they do it? Because technically the software code, you can't put it in jail. You can't financially fine it. It's quote unquote decentralized. So you get in this weird situation where there's just a lot of nuance and no one's yet talking about how to solve that. So some entrepreneurs push forward and build and say, we'll figure it out later. Others don't. Yeah. And that's where this debate comes in.
But I think what the SEC is doing is saying, like, oh, we're going to enforce it, and that's how we're going to come up with the rules?
And that's where she's saying maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should come out with the rules. We should clearly articulate what they are. And then we should go ahead and do enforcement if somebody breaks the rules we've already told them exist.
As a member of the SEC, can't she influence them?
Yes, but she doesn't have sole discretion. She's not unilaterally able to do that. It ends up being a situation where she's one of many members. She's definitely been the bull for quite a while now. She's literally known as Crypto Mom.
Yes, I remember.
But she can't go ahead and do it herself. And so that's where she's basically using her public platform to say, hey, I'm dissenting, right? It's kind of like when the Supreme Court comes out and they say, hey, we voted on something. There's somebody that goes ahead and says, this is what the pro argument is. And somebody says this is the dissenting argument. And then the public can see, even though the vote went one way, there's still a dissenting argument.
Okay. Starbucks said it will hike wages for tenured workers and double training for new employees as the company and its CEO, Howard Schultz, seek to beat back the union push from its baristas. Starbucks is going to spend $1 billion on this.
To train?
Dollars. Wage hikes and training.
So the wage hikes they have to do or they won't be able to compete. Right. McDonald's right now, $20 an hour is pretty much the going rate for somebody to work at a fast food joint. So if you're Starbucks... Wait,
what is it at McDonald's?
McDonald's definitely has $20 an hour. Maybe not every single location, but in many, many locations around the country. And it's just because there's competition, right? If I'm McDonald's, I'm competing with all the other fast food restaurants. I'm competing with gig work. I'm competing with all these other things. I have to, as a free market participant, I have to increase the price I'm willing to pay people or they won't come work here. I offer $10, nobody shows up. I offer $12, nobody shows up. $15, nobody shows up. It's all the way up to $20. Amazon, $20 an hour, et cetera. And so Starbucks has to increase compensation for employees or they won't be able to actually get people. Then the second thing that ends up happening is the training. If you think about Starbucks, like their entire business is based on having a system that works perfectly. You need to have the same experience when you walk in. You need to have the same quality. You need to have all this stuff. Like that's all training. And so to build the systems and then roll that out costs money. And so it makes sense. I'm surprised that they aren't already doing this. And $1 billion feels like it's really not that much money in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, but Starbucks is one of those companies that's known for things like this, right? And not just training, but like paying for college and tuition and books for its
because they have to.
Do they have to? I don't think they have to.
If they stop doing that stuff, they won't be able to hire anyone.
But Starbucks is like a.
Do you want to go work at Starbucks? No. Do I want to work at Starbucks? No.
Wait, but why is that relevant?
Because if most people, if you go and talk to them and say, do you want to work at Starbucks? They say no. Then you say, okay, well, what if Starbucks pays you $20 an hour? Maybe. Then they say, and what if they pay for your college? Okay, maybe, right? Like all they're doing is they're trying to increase the number of things that they can offer to people. It's all about compensation and perks. Now, there are some people who are just like, yo, I love Starbucks. I want to work there. It's my dream job, right?
Yeah.
But that percentage of population is very small. So how do you expand the top of funnel? This is all business ends up being. It's about incentives. What is the incentive for have somebody come and work at your business?
Of course.
Increase the incentive, increase the pay, increase the compensation, increase the benefits, and then you'll be able to attract more people. And that's exactly what Starbucks is doing.
Totally. One time we went to a Starbucks in Bali, and I was not what?
Yeah, well, I remember this experience.
Wait, why? We walked a long way through the rice fields. No.
Yeah, we were doing the real, what do they call, like the real on-the-ground experience of Bali. We went to Starbucks.
No, well, that was just one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was surprised.
And then a dog almost attacked you.
Oh my God, guys.
All right, come on, let's keep going.
Okay. But I was just gonna say it's a very uniform experience, you know?
I couldn't hear in my headphones. They fixed it. Sorry.
Oh, is that what was
Yeah,
going
Plano was
on?
shook there. Jordy was crawling
There was
on the
like a
floor
lot of
over here.
things going
That's what
on.
we do for you guys in
I was
here,
trying
all
to be
right?
normal.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm good now. I'm good. Oh, okay. Got a text message here. So Twitter Circle is something that Twitter is testing. It's going to be kind of like the close friends feature on Instagram, where you can send messages just to or photos, whatever. You can Instagram just your close friends.
Yep.
So Twitter's doing that, where if you tweet something, only your close friends can see it. Do we like this? The whole point of
Twitter, stop it. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. Stop trying to copy everyone else. You want to know what Twitter needs to do? Twitter needs to go to every politician, every journalist and say, you're off the platform. Done. You're kicked off the platform. Oh, you want to come back? Is this important to your business?
And politician.
If this is important to your business, if this is important to your campaign, pay us $1,000 a month. That's what they should do. How many politicians, how many journalists would pay $1,000 a month to use Twitter? Every single one of them. It is the single most important platform if you're a journalist or a politician. And if Twitter wants to go ahead and make money, don't do Twitter Circle, don't do this or that. Like, leave the average person alone. Just say, you guys use this for free. But if you're a politician, if you're a journalist, $1,000 a month. And I promise you, you know what's going to happen? All the morons who are just on the internet screwing around, they're not going to pay the $1,000. But the journalists...
Yeah, every media organization is going to pay the $1,000.
Of course. And now all of a sudden, you have a relationship with the journalist where they don't get on there and act like fools. Now all of a sudden, you're paying us to be on here. You're going to go literally siphon the Twitter traffic to go make money on your website. Pay us $1,000 a month. If you're a politician, you're going to literally become one of the most influential people in America. Pay us $1,000 a month.
Okay, but how are they going to regulate that? Like, you can't,
it's easy. If I want to watch Netflix, I have to pay them every month. If I don't pay them, I don't get to watch. If they don't pay the money, then they don't get to use the platform.
Yeah, but I can create another account and just be like, I'm a politician. What are they going to say?
Trust me, they'll figure it out. If you create a offering where as a politician or as a journalist, you need to pay $1,000 a month. That, again, I'm not a genius, but that's $12,000 a year for every single journalist at the New York Times, every single journalist at the Washington Post, every single journalist at MSNBC and Fox and whatever other service that you want. Leave the average person alone. Make them feel special. Say, y'all got to use this shit for free. Y'all cool. Politicians and journalists, you're paying.
Okay, but can I ask why?
You can ask whatever you want.
Can I ask how they're supposed to make money on Twitter Circles?
They're not trying to make money with Twitter Circle, from my understanding. All they're trying to do is they're basically trying to
Instagram?
They're trying to create a better environment in terms of being able to only talk to a small group of your friends. And the idea here is maybe you don't want to blast it to everybody. Right? Sure, maybe. But at the end of the day, Twitter's value proposition, in my opinion, is the connectivity to the audience. It is the ability to reach people I don't know or go talk to other people or whatever. And so ultimately, I think that's what they end up missing here, is that this is looking at another product, okay, let's do a Me Too version. Oh, they have close friends, let's do Twitter Circle. Sure, maybe some people use it, maybe they don't, whatever. But like this is not going to be a mainstream feature because the whole value proposition of Twitter is one-to-many communication. How do I go
Yes, but here's my
to
problem.
the world?
If Elon Musk is all about free speech and he's going to do all this stuff, you can't pick and choose who you want to pay because that's not really a public square, as he calls it.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Free speech has nothing to do with whether I let you listen to me or not.
If you let me listen.
So if I block you, it has nothing to do with free speech.
Right.
It's not freedom to listen. It is free speech.
Just as not, it's also not freedom to pay. Like you should be able to, as anybody, go on the public square and have.
Except if you're a politician or if you're a journalist. By the way, they should make the president of the United States pay $1 million a year. $1 million. If you're the head of a state, $1 million. I would even argue that maybe if you're in the Senate or Congress, you got to pay more than $1,000 a month. Like, just let's start ratcheting it up. What is it worth to these people?
Yeah.
The president of the United States, they're going to pay a lot of money. You may be able to get $10 million out of them.
Ooh.
So let's start playing the game. How much is it worth? Jack up the cost, make it free for everybody else, get rid of all the crypto spam, all the bots, all this nonsense. Just start leveling in.
The bots are pretty crazy, guys.
Exactly what it costs. All right, what's next?
Okay, so do you guys remember the game Wordle? The one that the New York Times bought for several $1 million, which
what is this?
Like, you know this game where you have to guess a word in several tries.
I wouldn't need several tries. Go ahead.
You did need several tries. We played.
Did I play it?
Yes. So we played it once.
News to me.
But then when that game went viral, this other game that's also called Wordle accidentally got the benefit because a bunch of people started downloading the wrong version on the App Store.
Smart.
So now it's getting bought by AppLovin. It's a game maker in an undisclosed deal, but they're buying this because of the crazy traction it got thanks to this other game.
SEO.
Yeah, but it's crazy.
Why is it so crazy?
Because
if you really think about it.
They benefited from somebody else's success.
No.
It's like the tailwind.
No,
it's like
they set themselves up for success. They picked the name Wordle, and that just happened to be perfectly positioned so that when the other one took off, they took off.
It's how you benefit from my success.
Okay.
I'm just so successful, I leave a trail that he...
Do you have any questions from the audience today?
I do not have any questions, guys.
No Ask Lunch Money?
No
Do you
ask-
want everyone
do you
to
have a question
Do you want everyone to leave their question in the comments of the video so that you can pick one for tomorrow?
Yes, but that's what I've been saying.
Okay, we'll say it.
Oh. Yeah, leave your question for lunch, but it's a little confusing because the lunch. Okay, hashtag AskLM in the comments below on this video or in the separate lunch money video that gets posted.
Just leave your questions. We'll answer them. That's it.